Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cedric Alexander, and you are listening to the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show.
Produced by the Cleveland Sound Radio Network. Here is the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show, hosted by Glenn Moore and Steve Guy.
If you're a wrestling fan and you needed a fix of wrestling, you should have been here in Cleveland because AIW had 3 amazing shows in just 2 days, and we, as in Glenn and Steve, endured mostly, I would say, every single match of every single show this weekend here in Cleveland. Some great indie wrestling, a lot of great young names in town, women and men, and a lot of old faces making their return to Cleveland as well, and a man that we interviewed making his way to Cleveland for the first time since being released since prison. So a lot of great...
I totally thought that you were going to talk about Joe coming off the heels of NXT.
No, that deserves his own little talk about. But some Nick Gage was in town. He went hardcore. But we were very busy ourselves, not only watching wrestling, but interviewing 7 different personalities, 7 different wrestlers, men and women, and we'll be playing those interviews throughout the month of June and July. And if you are subscribed on iTunes to our feed, which you should be, and if you're not, head over there and subscribe. Or if you listen to any of the platforms, you know that we had a exclusive interview with Samoa Joe on Saturday night.
Joe of Samoa.
And we had it up before he even got dressed for his match.
That's right.
And hit the dirt sheets that night and Sunday. Got a lot of play. So if you're listening because of that interview, we welcome you to the show. And if you have listened to us since the beginning, we thank you. But I hope you enjoyed that show with Samoa Joe. A great interview with him. Go back if you haven't listened to it or you're just being told about it right now. Head back there, episode number 31 with Samoa Joe. And a great interview with him. Great conversation with Samoa Joe. A great down-to-earth guy. Had a great match with Johnny Gargano, and a guy that had a great conversation. Didn't really give us much, but he teased a few things.
He did, yeah, he did, but he didn't at the same time.
Yeah,
it was one of those take from it what you will, but here's how it's all kind of laid out. I mean, we did get the understanding that he has a pretty fat contract, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah,
he's clearly not getting paid what I don't know, say a Tyler Breeze might be getting paid coming into NXT, or Baron Corbin, names like that. He's at probably a Kevin Owens or Finn Balor level, maybe even higher.
He's probably way higher.
I would say
he's getting paid, and he's doing these indie shows. He's getting paid from these indies.
At the indie shows. Yeah. So from what we gathered and can understand, he is going to have this unique contract where he's going to do NXT, possibly WWE main roster stuff as well, and still be able to do the indies.
So if you haven't listened to the interview, head back there. Samoa Joe right here on This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. Great interview with him. And when we asked about him, like, why not be on Raw for your debut? And he kind of smiled and said, it's going to happen.
Yeah, patience.
Yeah, but look for Joe on Raw very shortly, I would predict.
But I loved his quick response when we asked him and you asked about NXT being a developmental brand. He said, and he's like, who are these people?
Yeah,
and he's right, and that's something that we had talked about beforehand. We talked about here on the show the week before with John Thorne from AIW, and NXT is quickly become not a developmental brand. It has become its own brand, and that's something dating back to when we had Adrian Neville on the show that he had said as well. So clearly at this point, it's WWE is its own competitor with NXT, but whatever, why not? It's awesome, and that's what Joe wanted to be a part of. He said he's very cognizant of these things and wants to be a part of these huge, I guess, uproars, these things that make noise.
Yeah, and why not? I mean, he's getting paid. He's deserved the right. He's been in the business for so long, and Ring of Honor, TNA, now WWE, so he deserved that right. And like I said, interview is available on our iTunes feed, Libsyn, and also clesound.com. AIW, great weekend. A lot of different personalities were there. Like I said, we have a ton of interviews coming your way. And just to name some of the personalities and wrestlers that were there, we talked to Dangerous Doug Gilbert, who's been in the business for a very, very long time. talk with him. Nunzio, Little Guido was
Little
there.
Guido, yeah.
We interviewed him. Look for that interview as well. And then some up-and-comers. Cedric Alexander, who will be a guest on this week's show from Ring of Honor. He talks about the New Day gimmick and why he doesn't like it. And if he would join the New Day, if WB offered him a contract. It's a very interesting answer. So he is our guest for this week, Cedric Alexander from Ring of Honor. We also interviewed a couple of the up-and-comers women's wrestlers, Taylor Hendricks and Crazy Mary Dobson. And you might recognize Crazy Mary from making a appearance on NXT last month against Becky Lynch as Sarah Dobson. So, and Taylor Hendricks, when we asked her about what her future was, she was kind of coy about looking for NXT. So a lot of these people making some noise, and finally we mentioned it in the opening. Nick Gage was also there, and if you just Google Nick Gage,
you will see
have
some
fun.
brutal matches.
Basically cutting a major artery.
Don't be eating food.
Yeah.
While you're Googling Nick Gage.
He cut an artery from a light bulb because he does all these crazy light stuff, and then he's being tended to by paramedics, and he still wants to go out there and wrestle. He's a crazy dude. Very intense interview. I felt comfortable, but not totally comfortable. That's the way he wrestles too, because he comes out with emotion. He's a believable character. I wouldn't want to mess with the guy if he came out to the ring the way he does. But we interviewed him. And look for that interview as well. But
the Ray Rowe and Nick Gage match was very physical.
Yeah,
as you'd imagine it would be.
Yeah, I think. And then even Nick Gage versus Eric Ryan was all over AIW in the gym. They fought on the bleachers. They threw chairs at each other into the guardrail. It was very intense. So, and Nick Gage will be back for Absolution here at AIW in July, facing Tim Dunst. So that should be a great matchup.
Yeah, which is huge. You know, real quick on Tim Dunst. It's a guy that we talked about on the show before. I previously mentioned, Tim, we thought had retired from wrestling and needed to because he was diagnosed with cancer. He has beaten it, and he will be back at Absolution for AIW, making his return. So that's awesome. Great news coming from him. That was one of the, not necessarily exciting, but one of the really bright spots coming out of the weekend. Aside from obviously the action being exciting, that was an exciting, bright moment just in general. He went out there to the crowd, as you had said, and told everybody, "Hey, man, he's back." So good for him. It's always a happy ending there.
But a great weekend of wrestling at AIW, putting on a great show. Three shows in 2 days, and then the next show will be Absolution in July at a very unique venue and balcony. It's almost like an ECW kind of feel to it. It's going to be a very awesome show in July for Absolution.
Tickets still for sale.
Yeah.
AIWrestling.com.
Yeah, tickets went for sale last night, and the VIP front row sold out in about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a hot ticket as the day gets closer, and you're going to have EC3. You're going to have DJ Z. You're going to have Raven Rowe. You're going to have a lot of guys here. Johnny Gargano, Josh Prohibition.
Matt
the
Cross
Young Bucks
from Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Young Bucks coming back.
Young Bucks will be back. And add in Nick Gage versus Tim Dunst. The return of Tim Dunst to the ring. It's going to be an epic card. And you guys should definitely check out ARWrestling.com for more details. All right. Let's get into Raw. And after we talk about Raw for a little bit, Cedric Alexander will be our guest. So look for that after our first segment. All right, now we all know about Stone Cold and his driving the beer truck,
right?
Driving Zamboni. He used to take over vehicles and drive out to the ring. But last night on Raw, this is a head scratcher. It was pretty cool, but if you're a adult, Ambrose gets arrested for assaulting a cameraman because he thought the cameraman was attacking him. But in front of the cops, Triple H and Seth Rollins are bullying the victim into saying that he got hit in front of the cops. Usually that doesn't fly.
Yep.
So then they arrest Ambrose. And then all of a sudden this evidence comes out of a video on YouTube, which sets free Ambrose, which I never heard in my life that a YouTube video can set someone free.
Yeah, before the court proceedings.
So that happens. Ambrose is making his way back. He comes back to the ring, driving the police van that he was arrested in a cop hat, a cop jacket.
Yeah, like he beat up the cop or something. So if he wasn't going to jail before thanks to that YouTube video, he's definitely going to jail now.
So what happened? Why?
Well, New York is known for having very friendly police officers, so I'm sure that they lent him the vehicle.
It took away from the moment that it was pretty cool, but it didn't make sense. As an adult, I'm like, wait, he got arrested for assaulting someone.
Why didn't Roman Reigns come out and be like, friends stick together, and word on the street is Dean Ambrose just made bail, and it's like Roman Reigns bailed him out, and then maybe the cop car brings him back, the paddy wagon, and Dean Ambrose jumps out the back of it. That would have been fun.
But even the cops aren't going to give you a ride. They say, hey, you're released. Get your own ride. Maybe Roman Reigns could have went to get him. Maybe
I don't know.
But it doesn't make sense. But immediately, what I thought of when I heard the siren being played in the arena was, this is the return of Big Papa Pump. It was like his theme music. I was waiting for the holler if you hear me.
Yeah, no, we knew that wasn't going to happen.
But
would have been great if it was.
Yeah, that would have been great. But Elimination Chamber. This was like 3 weeks? 2 weeks since the old. It's gonna be 2 weeks.
2 weeks in between.
So they have to build this one quick.
Yeah.
They have to get the title match set, 2 Elimination Chambers matches, the Divas match set. I get that, but I'm excited for the Chamber matches because you have the tag team, you have the IC title. This is wide open. I'm excited for that. Ambrose Rollins, I feel like this is going to be rushed because
here's what I don't understand. Those other matches aren't inside the chamber, right? Like an Ambrose Rollins is not within the chamber.
Yeah.
They keep making it seem like those are going to be in the chamber too.
Right.
And I'm like, wait, no, but it's not.
Can't be.
So
yeah,
it's confusing. Well, that would be the point of that being in the chamber. Why would you put 2 guys in a pot?
See, I was thinking like if Ambrose wasn't going to make it in time, that like Reigns would step up. Where's Randy Orton?
That's what I was wondering. I guess he's still beat up from that triple power bomb, even though he still made it back into that match.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like I figured Orton would come back. You have Reigns, and I would think Ziggler or some other guys would step up, and there would be enough guys to put in a chamber match. 6 guys, 5 guys with Rollins for the title. If Ambrose couldn't make it out,
can you imagine Lesnar, Rollins, Ambrose, Reigns? I mean, who else do you put in there at that point? It doesn't matter. Take your pick. Rusev.
Yeah.
Put him in that instead of the IC title. Bray Wyatt. Oh my God! You get Bray Wyatt in that instead. That's a sweet chamber match right there.
That would be a very nice chamber match, but they decided not to, and they're going to have Ambrose with. I think it's going to be a great match between those two, but.
It's good because this finishes off the story that we got last year. It was a year in the making, and we can now return to it and have some closure on that story.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to this one, and we got to see what happens. And the tag team titles, I'm looking forward to that match. The New Day have been spectacular.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with the Ascension being in there. I don't agree with the Lucha Dragons being in the match.
I do, obviously.
I don't agree with the
Los
Matadores.
I love Lucha Dragons. That I don't agree with.
I think you could have put in the Meta Powers. You could have put in the Luke and Eric Harper. You could have them in the match.
Yeah.
I don't know why you have Lucha Dragons who have been off TV for so long.
Yeah, Luke Harper.
Maybe because they do flippy shit.
Yeah, why would you put Luke Harper and Eric Rowan back together and not put them in that match?
Exactly.
That's questionable.
And then you have the Ascension off TV for so long; they're not over at all. Why reward them in the match?
Yeah, I don't know, because they beat the Meta Powers. I guess
Meta Powers are the most over tag team other than the New Day, and they're not even in the match.
And Tyson Kidd and
Cesaro.
Which, by the way, I mean, it's going to happen at some point, but man, that's one of those tag teams where it was 2 random dudes, but now I hope they never break up that tag team. I love, as much as I enjoyed watching Cesaro as a singles wrestler, I love watching Tyson Kidd and Cesaro.
Yeah.
I mean, just because of the pure ability that they have and the creativity that they have, they are so good to watch as a tag team with everything that they can do. It is tag team wrestling, It's awesome. Like, I don't have much more to say. I just don't want them to break up. I think it's so fun to watch them.
They are exciting, and I like them. Just wish they had more legit tag teams to go with the New Day and with Cesaro and Kidd, other than I hate the Usos. Never been a fan of Usos.
Well, Usos you still was either Jimmy or Jay. Which one of them had I can't tell them apart.
One grew a beard
and had shoulder surgery.
Yeah.
So that's where we are at there. Well, I mean, you could have had him team with Tamina Snuka, I guess. That
Oh,
would have been
boy.
fine.
Jeez.
Put them in there, and that would have been all right. But yeah, the New Day, they are over. I mean, so you have to showcase them. But disappointed. Maybe there's going to be 2 guys only in the pod instead of 3. Would have been cool. They did come out on top, 10-on-3 last night.
Yeah, surprising.
So we'll see how that goes. But Cedric Alexander, our guest, of course, will have his take on New Day. It's kind of why we had him on this week. So they're hot, and his opinion will be interesting.
Yeah. And I want to talk about before we get to after we get with Cedric, Zack Ryder getting a major match on Raw.
Whoa.
But I think it was ruined by Entourage.
It was good that they introduced him.
No, they should have had to come out surprised. You knew that it was going to be him. They teased
Well, once
it
they
backstage.
said that, yeah.
They
Oh,
teased.
right. I see what you're saying.
So,
Yeah,
you knew it was
throughout
Zack
the
Ryder.
night.
They knew.
Yeah.
If they would have set out and said, "Hey, the U.S. Open is now beginning."
Yeah.
And then you would have a little pause, and you would have heard woo woo. Like the crowd would have erupted even more than they did.
Yeah.
I think it was teased too much before.
Well, and Cena had that long monologue
Oh God, Cena
promo before that even took place. So it was
Jeez.
just too much on the mic before we even got to the match itself.
And then you had Entourage come out. We'll talk about Zack Ryder's match
Still great to have Kevin Owens come out after that, though.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that after our interview with Cedric Alexander, who
Wait,
was in
hang
town.
on.
What? You hear that?
Is Dean Ambrose coming into the studio?
I don't think so, buddy.
Oh, those sirens must mean it's time to call Big Papa Pump. I swear I thought it was Ambrose driving the truck, but that's definitely the Big Papa Pump sirens right there. Holla if you hear me. Oh, it's always good when we call Scotty Steiner. One day he will answer the phone. I feel that that's going to happen.
It's becoming a bit because we have people at AIW, a couple of the referees who are now listening to the show. He said, "Has Steiner ever answered the phone?" I'm like, no. Like every week we're going to call him, and
Keep trying.
yeah. So this is we're calling Steiner right now.
Yes, this is not Dean Ambrose showing up to the CLE Sound Studios, although that would be pretty cool too. Would you rather have Dean Ambrose show up in the paddy wagon driving it, or have Scott Steiner answer the phone right now?
Steiner.
Not Dean Ambrose in person. All right. I mean, that's fair
I've
enough.
already interviewed him.
Oh, there it goes. Disappointment again.
Yep. That's what the 8th week in a row.
One day.
One Tuesday, Steiner will answer, and we will just.
We should have asked Samoa Joe what he thinks of Scott Steiner.
Oh, that would have been great.
You know how great it would have been if we call. Why didn't we think about this?
What?
We should have called Scott Steiner while sitting there with Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe was already annoyed by us.
He was, but he wasn't. He was a great time. I liked when he made fun of Tracy Smothers for sleeping on the floor.
That was funny. All right, so let's go to interview this week. Ring of Honor's Cedric Alexander, a young man, very talented wrestler in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
He made his AIW debut this weekend here in Cleveland, and we had a chance to speak with him. So sit back and enjoy our interview with Ring of Honor's Cedric Alexander.
7-8, get my muff early, ready for the grind. No alarm clock, money on my mind. Yeah, I'm a boss. This is not a rhyme. Listen very close. Truth in every line. Metronome time.
This is Awesome Wrestling Show right here on CLEsound.com. Our guest at this time, you know him in Ring of Honor, Cedric Alexander. Thank you for joining. This is your AIW debut, correct?
Yes, sir. It's the very first show.
You excited to be here in Cleveland?
I'm ecstatic.
The weather is not bad. It's not too hot, not too cold. This is perfect Cleveland weather.
I was really expecting to be way colder,
Yeah.
so thank God it's not.
All right, my first question. I've did some research on you, and the one thing I wanted to talk to you and right off the bat ask you about this is your comments on the New Day in WWE.
I knew that was coming. I knew it was coming.
I figured to get out of the way. Let's get out of the way right
Okay.
now.
All right.
Back in April, we did an interview saying how it was racist and you're not happy with the gimmick. And they come out. They're more of a comedy, just kind of a show act. they're not the tag team champions. They're getting over. Turn more of a heel, bad guy kind of stable. Since they are getting over and getting recognized, are you change your position on that, or do you still feel they are being portrayed negatively?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that I did say what I said about New Day, and then a few weeks later, they're tag champs. Just putting that out there. I'm not saying I created magic.
Yeah.
I'm just saying what just something I said. It has some effect. I don't change my opinion on them necessarily. I mean, they're getting over. That's good for them. I mean, I'm not trying to hate on them at all or, discredit their hard work or anything. I just gave my opinion.
Right.
And I thought the New Day gimmick when it first started out was racially stereotypical and offensive to me as an African-American man.
Yeah.
That you take three guys who were Kofi being the the most athletic guy on the roster, with Big E being the strongest guy on the roster probably next to Cesaro, and then Xavier Woods being a legit genius.
Yeah.
You take them and you make them come out to gospel music and you make them clap and sing and and all this kind of stuff and do a preacher gimmick when neither one of them are preachers.
Yeah.
So to me, it was a little bit offensive.
But I mean, I kind of agree with you. That's what kind of I recognize it as when they first started, and they're trying to maybe build it up as that. They weren't coming out and saying it. It was kind of the watered down PG version of the Nation of Domination back when Farouk and The Rock and then they came out. And it looked like they were trying to go that way, and they kind of held back on it, but still it was kind of the stereotypical. But they are showcasing him now a little bit more. Kofi and Big E and Xavier as the voice of the group.
Right.
So I feel like they still have that stereotypical kind of feel to them, but they are getting over and they are champions, and they're starting to get a little more involved in the storylines and legit tag team competition. So that's good. And in WWE, they usually, if nothing's getting over, they usually kill it and they separate them and they're back to the drawing board. I'm glad they kind of stuck around and kind of made it work, because they could have killed it a month ago. Right.
And completely, I'm glad they're being used, and I'm glad they're being put in the light.
Yeah.
As a top team. I just don't like it's a preacherish thing when neither one of them are preachers, and they're a Happy Southern Baptist tag team without really labeling themselves as such. Yeah. That's just how I feel. I mean, it's to me it's not as bad now. I mean, because they're playing on the fact that no one likes it. Yeah. And they're using it to their advantage. Yeah. So it's fine, but I mean, when you try to shove it down someone's throat and make them like something that they don't want to like, then it's just bad. Yeah. But now that everyone catches on that they don't like it, it's like, well, fine, we'll just use it as heels.
Yeah, and if it didn't work, they wouldn't be on TV.
Exactly. So I mean,
they're they're all talented.
They're all very talented.
If they're on
athletes.
TV, I think it's win-win.
I think WWE has a history of not doing so hot and just throwing stereotypes out there no matter what. I mean, you asked Jamie Noble about his best spot in WWE in his career, and he just had to sit there and be like a white trash guy. I don't think he was too thrilled with that either. No, he's got an accent. He's white trash.
And I got bashed by so many fans for just giving my opinion.
Yeah.
If I had been a Spanish guy and said that Los Matadores was racially offensive, then you probably wouldn't have said anything to me about it, because they're two Puerto Rican guys playing Mexican bullfighters.
Yeah.
Right.
Is that not?
Well,
I mean, if I was a Spanish guy, I'd be like, well, what the hell, bro?
You think back to the Guerreros when they were, tag team on the roster, and they're coming out to their theme song. We lie, we cheat, and we steal. Yeah. It's like, all right. Yeah. It all goes that way. And I agree with, especially with Xavier Woods, because here's this guy, super unique. Oh, yeah. And how intelligent he is. And now you had the whole E60 thing drop, and still working on his PhD. And you're right. To a standpoint, they're like, everything is stereotypical, because then you think about how Damien Sandow came out, and he was supposed to be the super intelligent guy. Right. Well, you have a guy who is about to be or working on being a bona fide PhD. Why not have him be the master intelligent guy? Yeah, absolutely agree.
And the whole biggest argument with the whole thing was, I'm a firm believer in any guy that's gonna really, really get over. Yeah. You got to be yourself times 1,000. Like Randy Orton, I'm sure he's not as sadistic or whatever, as angry as he is, but he has a legit temper.
Right.
Like he does, and he said that on plenty of interviews. He just turns it up to 1,000. Like John Cena, he has this, I guess, credo he lives by, whatever. You see it on the Total Diva show, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, he kind of turns it up to 1,000. CM Punk, who is kind of a dick in person.
Yeah,
he
turns
turns
it
it
up.
up to 1,000.
Does he, or is he just? I don't know.
It's just to me, you turn that up and make it who you are. Like, people point out to me, well, the primetime players are stereotypical and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's who they are.
Yeah.
People. They just turn it up.
Yeah, they were athletes and they're used to that.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, Ring of Honor, doing well, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure WB is probably the ultimate goal for you, correct? I mean,
It's not the ultimate goal, but if the offer did come up,
Right.
I would definitely consider it.
now, what if they came up to you and said, hey, we want you to be the 4th member of New Day?
I can't say I wouldn't do it,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna like it. You know, I'm not gonna put on a white hat and be, oh yeah, thanks boss, I love this new
Yeah.
job you gave me.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I'm gonna voice opinion of I don't like it because
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer is I am who I am, and I've got as far as I have in wrestling by being the Cedric Alexander you see in front of you.
Yeah.
I turn on certain parts of my attitude to 1,000 so I can really yell at people or really get people to love me or whatever.
Yeah.
But if I don't. But I'm not a preacher. I'm not the most religious person in the world, so I really prefer not to portray that.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to work for me. It's not going to be authentic.
Yeah.
And I feel like the way to be most over is to be authentic. And if I can't be authentic, I don't feel like I'll get over. But if you put the money on the table,
It'd be hard to pass
it'll
up.
be hard to
Yeah.
pass up. I'm not going to like it.
Yeah.
Do you
but
find
it's hard to pass it up.
Do you find being in Ring of Honor right now and doing the independent circuits and whatnot, it still gives you that freedom to remain authentic? Like you don't, as a company, as an organization, you have that freedom more so to do that there, as opposed to them coming and trying to tweak a character standpoint for you?
I feel way more comfortable in ROH. It's they're not trying to force me to do anything that's uncomfortable for me. It's just, hey, the best way you get over, give it to us. All right, here's what we're gonna work on.
Yeah.
And there are things in the works now that are I think more suitable for me as a wrestler, as a person, to help get me over and to help me portray the best version of Cedric Alexander that I can on television.
This day and age, it's almost like we're kind of going, I don't know, in reverse, because I don't know if we were ever at a standpoint where people went to watch wrestling for the wrestling. But it seems like that becomes more and more important now, which is great. The athleticism is on display, I think, now more than ever. Do you find that what's going to take you there is your athleticism and that's the craft that you want to hone, or more so building a character? Or is it both?
That's kind of a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
Because for a lot of guys,
That's why I
asked. It's tough. It's really tough. Because for a lot of guys, it is just sheer athleticism that gets them in the door, like Adrian Neville or a Pac.
Right.
The fact that he is a
freak.
freakishly great athlete got him in the door.
Sure.
He doesn't have the greatest personality in the world. He's not the most he's not a guy you look at and go, man, I want to be that guy. But when you watch him move in the ring, you want to be that guy.
Yeah, his charisma is within the ring, not
in the
before
ring,
he gets into it.
It's not for a microphone. And I feel like I kind of fall in that place where I'm not the greatest talker in the world. And I'm first to admit that, but I feel like my in-ring style is different and it's exciting, and that will get people to go, wow, man, that guy's awesome. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
And of course, it's important to get the mic skills over.
Sure.
So you gotta kind of have a little bit of both.
Right.
But some guys are stronger than others, and but for me, athleticism is what's gonna get me in the door.
For yourself, what was that moment in your life saying, I want to be a professional wrestler? What was there? Watching it, obviously wrestling as a kid, was it a decision that you pondered as a kid, or was it a moment like saying, this is what I want to do with my life, I'm going to go for it? What was that moment?
I always watched wrestling as a kid. I always say that the first match I remember watching was Juventud Guerrera versus Rey Mysterio in WCW. And that was the match that got me hooked on wrestling. Yeah. But watching wrestling, what made me go a conscious decision, like, this is what I want to do with my life, was when TNA was still running the Wednesday night pay-per-views. And it was the Ultimate X match, to be exact. Yeah. It was, I can't remember which one it was exactly. I think it was the second one. It was Daniels, Kazarian, Sabin, Shane, Michael Shane, and Low Key. I remember correctly.
Sounds right.
I think so. I'm not exactly sure.
That sounds right to me.
But watching that match made me go, I want to be like these guys. These guys are freaking incredible.
Yeah.
And then like later watching AJ Styles and then Samoa Joe came in, I was like, oh, look at this. They're awesome. Look at these. They're killing each other. I love it.
Right.
And you've went on to wrestle like Christopher Daniels, and you got on to wrestle these guys too.
Yeah.
So you're on the indie circuit, Ring of Honor, and you're going against guys that made up your mind to do what you're doing now. That has to be an awesome feeling.
Some days I sit at home on my couch and I just go, man, I've wrestled like the people who made me as a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you never thought it would actually happen, but when it does, it's like,
Yeah.
I'm dreaming. This isn't real. Like, even still to this day, like, the match I had with AJ Styles was like over a year ago, like a year and a half ago. And still I sit back and watch it and go, man, I wrestled AJ Styles. Holy crap. He's the guy that, like, got me into this thing. I love it.
And you're only 25?
25.
And you're still young. I mean, so you still have a whole career ahead of you.
Yeah.
And you wrestle more guys. And I'm you guys wrestled with Kevin Owens as well. You wrestled him?
Oh, yeah. Me and Kevin are cool, man. He really looked out for me while he was in ROH and helped me be way more comfortable as a performer.
Yeah.
So like he's done a lot for me, more than he would probably ever know.
And have you gotten a WB call at all for NXT or anything?
I have
at
actually
all?
never done anything
Nothing
related to WWE, which when I think about that, it's kind of like, man, I know guys that have been wrestling for 6 months and like did a tryout camp or something like that. And it's like, it's not the end of the world if I never get WWE. It's not going to break my heart, but if I can just succeed and live off wrestling and travel the world doing what I love to do, then that's just as good for me.
Yeah, and you're still young, so there's still plenty of time, and you're at Ring of Honor, which is a great company, and so you're set. I mean, if this is what you want to do for the rest of your life, you're pretty much set.
I'm working hard on keeping this the only thing I can do.
That's kind of what I was going to ask. What does succeeding in this mean for you? Just doing it, and this is all you have to do? You don't have to do anything in terms of a paycheck week to week aside from wrestling? Or?
Yeah, I don't want to have to do a 9-to-5 job.
Me either, and I don't.
For guys that can do a 9-to-5 job, more power to you, because it's mind-numbing. Like, I remember when I was in college and I worked at Barnes & Noble, and like just those sitting there just
what a nerdy job.
I know. It sucked, just looking at books all day.
Not only are you in college and you have to study in the library, but then you're going to go to work at Barnes & Noble
in a freaking library, just sitting there staring at books all day and protractors and colored pencils and stuff. Like, God, this is terrible. I don't want to do this ever again. So when I first started wrestling, it was like maybe 4 or 5 years after my initial debut in wrestling, and I was like, so like really just like a year or two ago, it's kind of like, I don't have to do a 9-to-5 anymore. I can just sustain off wrestling and hopefully, make that young buck money where I'm like just throwing hundreds of dollars at my daughter, It's like, hey, I got the kind of money where I can just throw money at my children.
Is there an area or a indie promotion that you love working for? I mean, this is your first time here in AIW, but is there another promotion other than Ring of Honor that you like? Maybe having reoccurring appearances with them
that
you enjoy going to.
That I enjoy going to.
Yeah,
PWG hands down is one of the better ones I love going to. Those are, I don't really have a lot of recurring spots for like the more notable indies because for some reason they're not quite sold on me yet. I don't know why.
You'll be all right.
I don't know why.
It's those mic skills, Cedric. You got to work on them.
I got to work on those mic skills, man. I got to get them.
You're a young guy. 25. We've said this. Where does a team name CNC Wrestle Factory come from for you? Do you even know where that comes from?
I know where it comes from, but it was totally not my idea.
I wouldn't.
It was not. It was not Caprice's idea. It wasn't even Jim Cornette's idea. Like, it literally came from the fans. Like, after the first night we tagged, there was a guy who did a write-up on the ROH show where we tagged against Cole and O'Reilly when they were still tagging. The guy wrote up, he goes, oh yeah, these two black guys, Cedric and Caprice, the CNC Wrestle Factory. He just put it out there, and then from that point on, we were the CNC Wrestle Factory. I don't know where it came. It just out of nowhere.
So you don't even know where he came. Do you know who CNC Music Factory is?
Yes.
At this point,
I am familiar.
Now
with
you do.
Yes. Now I do.
At
the time, I didn't.
Have you listened?
Yes.
All right.
I have.
Are you a fan?
Kinda. Not quite.
See, I mean, we're not much older than you, but a few years. So, I mean, we were growing up in the 90s when that hit the airwaves.
I don't know what.
You don't know CNC
No.
Music Factory?
No.
What year did they really
It's like
get big?
1992 or maybe like 95.
Yeah, I don't
Gonna
know.
Make You Sweat.
I might have been.
It's at the end of.
If it was 92, I was like 3.
There's.
I was 3
What's
years
the
old.
movie that Steve Carell's in? It's like the sequel to Bruce Almighty.
Evan
Evan
Almighty.
Almighty.
Yeah.
So they play a CNC Music Factory song at the end of that.
Okay, so it's one of those kind of like
It's
club kind of like.
It makes you. It's like in the world where Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch
Yeah.
existed. This is where CNC
so
Music
I
Factory were.
well, more than likely I've
You
heard
more
one
than
of their songs.
likely
Okay.
know it. Yeah,
All right.
and it's god awful. I mean, you have good vibrations from Marky Mark, and then you have the CNC Music Factory.
It's the 90s, man. What can you say?
I mean, it was an amazing time.
The 90s.
I don't have anything else to say. But you have to ask me a question now. Now I'm just mind-boggled by the CNC Music Factory.
Final question, Cedric.
Yes, sir.
We always ask our guests this question before we wrap it up: is your dream match, the venue, the city, and your opponent or opponents?
From any era.
Any
Any
dead,
era.
dead or
Yeah.
alive.
Dead or alive.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that
Could
makes
be
it a little
anybody.
more.
This
a little
opens
more
it up
rough.
for you.
Man.
Could be a
We ask the hard
WrestleMania.
questions here.
Yeah, that's
Could be any stadium, any city. Your dream match.
my dream match. I could write you a list of what these would be, but the one sticking out of my head right now would be the Great Muta, Tokyo Dome.
Wow.
Wow.
Tokyo
That's
Dome.
not a usual answer.
I like
we
that
get
answer.
we get the WrestleMania, and the big stadium against Shawn Michaels. That's what
Yeah,
we
like
usually.
Shawn Michaels, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No,
Which
no,
is,
no.
I mean, that's their ideal match, but nothing. As
Although
unique
Johnny
as this answer.
Johnny Gargano did say WrestleMania in Cleveland Brown Stadium.
Yeah.
Ah,
So a little unrealistic, but nonetheless. Tokyo, that's a good answer.
That is, yeah.
I like it.
Great Muta, Tokyo Dome. That would be my dream match.
All right.
Well, you never know. Okay.
If Muta can get those knees in better shape, we might have a shot at this. Might have a better shot at this.
Cedric, good luck here in Cleveland.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming, and we'll look forward to watching you on Ring of Honor, and hopefully making more of a presence here in Cleveland.
Hey,
Yeah.
it's not very far from where I live, so hey,
Yeah.
I'm open to come back.
That's what, 8-hour drive?
Yeah, it's quick.
Yeah.
Quick, easy air drive. Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Come on back.
Yeah, come on back.
I'm
Join
here
us for the
brother.
show, man.
I'm here. just call me up. I'll come.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Kings Elite, you know what I'm saying? We in the building. Oh yeah, let's get it. I wake up in this my way state of mind, focused on the green. All I see.
Thanks to AIW for letting us come out and conduct these interviews. We have a whole list of guests to come up for future shows, and we're really looking forward to airing these
Cedric
interviews.
Alexander from North Carolina. Raise up, take a shirt off, swing around the head. No? All right. Well, he is. He's from there.
Great interview with him, with Cedric, and he should be coming back here soon. He was a great wrestler.
Yeah, he's very good.
And he looks like a guy. He looks like a miniature Big E Langston.
He
has
does.
the same kind of mold, but a little bit smaller.
And more athletic in that he can move around a little bit more. You know what he reminded me of is like he's like that. I guess he's the middle ground in terms of athletic ability and size, like and strength of Big E and like a Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah. Same kind of look too as a Big E, but athletic, like you said, as Shelton. I totally agree. If you Google him, a match comes up. It's a fully silent match. There is no crowd reaction. I think it's a Ring of Honor, and he was wrestling ACH in a match, and it was silent. Like any moves they did, there was quiet. Pinfalls, the guy was like, referee was slapping soft.
Oh man,
It was pretty funny. So there's a lot of great matches of Cedric on YouTube if you guys want to check out who he is. But he's up and comer, and he's one of these guys that, hey, NXT could come and call him for him. He has that kind of that mold, that kind of body they like, and he could be a guy to see, in NXT in a couple of years.
Yeah, he's a technical guy. He's a throwback to not just Shelton Benjamin, but like Charlie Haas. If Charlie Haas or Shelton Benjamin would have had more size to them,
Yeah.
like either one of those guys coming out because they're so technical and so technically sounding good, they would end up being Cedric Alexander, I think.
So great interview with him. Next few weeks, look for interviews with Taylor Hendricks, Crazy Mary Dobson, Doug Gilbert, Nick Gage and Little Guido, a.k.a. Nunzio. So those are interviews we have coming up right here. This is Awesome Wrestling Show, and we don't know who we'll be playing next week. It's a surprise. But you can go back, listen to other interviews. We have a whole list of guests. And I don't think, not to toot our own horn, but other than a couple of the wrestling shows that are well-known and backed by SiriusXM and whatnot, I don't think there's another wrestling show that has as many guests or as notable guests as we do.
No, and you know why? You know who we have to thank for that, Glenn? Besides AIW? Weber Grills.
Oh, yes.
We absolutely have Weber Grills to thank because of all of our interviews. Totally. Which is why you guys should all join the Weber Nation community where you can share stories, recipes, photos, and participate in blogs. Go to Weber.com, the heart of Weber and the hub of Weber love. We love Weber. I feel like we're the hub of Weber love.
It's Memorial Day weekend was this past week. People are grilling out. And if you're going to need to buy a grill for your summer, please head over to Weber Grill. And they have stuff at Target, Walmart, everywhere you can buy a Weber Grill. So.
I just moved on this leather couch. I feel like it sounded like I tooted. I hope that didn't come across on the microphone.
No, I didn't hear it.
If you guys heard that, it was a couch.
All right, Zack Ryder, back on Raw. Long Island, Nassau Coliseum, last Raw show. So you got to have the Long Island IC come out and perform. He faced John Cena, and he pulled out some moves out of nowhere. The Unprettier, Christian's finisher move, and then he attempted a 450 splash?
That was the greatest missed 450 splash I've ever seen.
450 splash.
I might be biased.
And can we all say that Zack Ryder, it looks zacked?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
he's zacked up, man.
Him and Wade Barrett must be having the same kind of workout eating regimen going on because they both are zacked.
Oh, Zach's got some new promotional items going on there in terms of protein and everything else. He's got some people trying to work with him. I've seen it on the Instagram. I follow the Zack Ryder.
Yeah.
It's great.
That guy.
I'm going to start getting that stuff.
But he, Unprettier, it was a good, you didn't know, you knew that Zack was going to lose.
You did.
But
I had that glimmer of hope, though, where I was like, are they going to give this to Zack Ryder?
Yeah.
And put John Cena in the Elimination Chamber?
No.
I didn't think that was going to be the case.
I thought that Owens would come out and distract them and Ryder would win.
Yeah, I didn't want Zack to take... I found myself not wanting Zack Ryder to take the loss. I wanted him to go over by, winning via disqualification. Somehow I wanted Kevin Owens to interrupt the match so that Zack Ryder wouldn't straight up lose it.
Yeah. But missed the 450 splash. Cena goes in, AA, ball game. The whole Entourage thing, I'm not a big fan. Entourage was cool about 10 years ago.
Well, we got the movie coming out.
Yeah, but I have no interest in seeing it. They push these people.
You don't want to see Emmanuel Cricky?
No.
One more time?
I can Google.
Oh, she's attractive.
I can Google these people.
Yeah, that's fair.
But they could have went with Zack as a surprise. You knew Zack was coming out. But still, great match. Great showing by Zack, who's always a great worker. He's gotten over on his own. He still is over, and he's not getting a push, which is sad. He should be right in the middle of the IC title mix.
Yeah,
right in the middle of that. He's still a fan favorite.
Yeah, there's not going to be a U.S. title mix.
Right.
Put him in the IC title mix.
I agree. You can get rid of who? Who is Stardust in that match?
No.
Who?
R-Truth is.
Okay, get rid of R-Truth. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what pictures of Vince McMahon does R-Truth have that he still keeps getting pushed?
He's a 43-year-old man. He's rocking it.
I mean, he is rocking it, but he's not. Oh, nobody cares about R-Truth.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting too that you have Ryback in that as opposed to being in a heavyweight battle or even a Rusev. So Rusev, he's done with the U.S. title, so now he's going to go after the IC. I guess. I mean, he just goes from one mid-card championship to the other. There is no U.S. title mix.
No,
right?
it's just.
So now we have the IC title picture. We have multiple people in it, which is good. But the U.S. title has one guy, and now, it's great that it's getting attention. But eventually, now we're going to get to the point where it's like, okay, well, we know each week John Cena's going to win.
Yeah, until pay-per-view.
Maybe Elimination Chamber, Kevin Owens becomes your U.S. champ.
No, because it's a non-title match.
Oh, it's just a match.
Yeah, it's just a match. It's non-title. So you got to believe Owens is going over then against Cena. And could we see Samoa Joe come out?
We could see Samoa Joe come out. Who knows?
Spoiler alert, Owens and Joe have wrestled for NXT. They did.
Yes.
They do like a month worth in advance of tapings, and they have wrestled, and no one has gone over. It's just been a draw. It's been a double count out. So, spoiler for you NXT people out there. But we could see maybe Samoa Joe come out. He did hint, hey, soon maybe, he smiled.
Because this could lead to their matches in NXT.
Yes, which would be smart. So Zack Ryder again needs to be pushed. Other than that,
you know what I thought about while Zack Ryder was up there getting ready to do the 450 splash? That would be great to bring out the U.S. title. And what I was saying is that there is no title picture. The only way it's going to happen is if you have John Cena lose. You have to have John Cena lose in such a fashion that it then creates a new rivalry for him. Now at this point, he has to lose, I think, on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Like as a fluke or something. And then he gets his title, his rematch or whatever. It goes back and forth. What better way would have been to have like his best bud? It would have been Zack Ryder. Get that upset win. That huge storybook win like that. A la the 1-2-3 Kid beating Razor Ramon on Monday Night Raw.
But the thing is though, back in the day, that wasn't for a title match, right? The 1-2-3 Kid versus,
no, eventually he does beat him though.
Yeah. But the thing is, though, Cena has brought up the U.S. title.
For the IC title, I think, at the point, back in the day.
Cena has brought up the IC, the U.S. title. It's now has a big block of time on Raw. He has a shirt now with the title, so you believe that it's going to be his for a little bit. It's going to be for a while. But I think you're right. It has to be someone notable, because if you give it to a guy like, Zack Ryder, who needs to be pushed, but he won't get pushed. If he would have won the belt, I think the U.S. title goes back down, because then they're not going to give him enough time to put it over.
So how about him not winning the belt, but creating a feud between them, or rivalry going back and forth, where Kevin Owens does interfere, costs the match. John Cena ends up getting the win by disqualification. But because they're such buddies, of course, Zack Ryder's like, come on, man, I had you, and if Kevin Owens doesn't interfere, I win that match. And John's like, I don't know about that, Zack. You're good and all, but not that good. Whatever. Basically mocks Zack Ryder, not giving him the full respect. So then Zack Ryder kind of gets pissed off, and now all of a sudden you've got a full-blown, hey, frenemy kind of feud going there.
I was hoping when Cena raised Ryder's hand, I was hoping for a clothesline from Cena to Ryder, go turn heel. That would have been the perfect time, turning heel.
Happen.
And the hometown boy Ryder turning heel. Woo, that'd be great.
You're not going to have John Cena turning heel when he's feuding with Kevin Owens.
True, but that still would have been great. There's another, what was the other heel turn that possibly could happen? Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. I smell a heel turn with him. This Money in the Bank, he probably will be in the Money in the Bank title match, or the briefcase match, for the contract. What if he wins it and then turns heel if Rollins loses to Ambrose? Because with Rollins having the title, when like Cena had the title, you knew Cena was going to win mainly these pay-per-views. He was going to win. With Rollins though, it's not a given.
I feel like it's a given until we get to SummerSlam with Brock Lesnar.
That's not even a given either. If Lesnar's going to come back. There's rumors of him not coming back till Night of Champions.
That long?
Yeah.
Well, and I don't know what happens.
He's getting paid. He's paid to sit. Paid to do nothing.
Well, perhaps you get perhaps Ambrose Rollins carries out into SummerSlam, and you get a Roman Reigns cash-in during that, turning it into a three-way dance, just like we had at WrestleMania, and there's your three-way dance of the Shield members.
I would hate if Reigns has the briefcase. Because every time he would come out, when a guy has a briefcase, every time he comes out, it's like, yes, he's going to do it. This is going to be great. Yeah. Because most likely he's going to win. Everybody but one person has won having the Money in the Bank briefcase. But if Reigns has it, when he comes out, because he's a face, he's going to be a face. He's going to win. It's going to happen. And I don't want him to have the belt. Please, God, no.
I don't see the heel turn coming with Rollins right now, being that champ. There's a couple things out there. There's rumors out there that you're still setting up for a Triple H Roman Reigns match, or you're setting up for ultimately a Triple H Seth Rollins match. One of the two. I don't think at this point you're going to have both.
Yeah, it's going to be a while.
Yeah.
You get a whole year. That's like a Seth Rollins Triple H match that's like WrestleMania worthy. I don't think Triple H SummerSlam. Triple H doesn't come back unless it's for one of the top 2 or 3 pay-per-views.
Maybe it's a Triple H Roman Reigns match at SummerSlam.
Maybe it's a
Triple H Seth Rollins match at SummerSlam, and somebody does win Elimination Chamber or Money in the Bank against Seth Rollins. I don't know.
Maybe Seth loses the title and then gets kicked out of the Authority by Triple H, and Reigns turns heel and joins the Authority.
It's all pure speculation.
And we love Seth Rollins' laugh. His laugh is incredible.
I don't know.
I'll play it.
It's fine.
It's a great laugh. But he's a great heel. I would hate to see him. He's a cool heel. It's cool to be heel. He doesn't hate too much. He's a bad guy. You know he's a bad guy, but it's cool. It's a cool bad guy.
It's a cool bad guy.
He is.
Yeah.
I want to be Seth Rollins. I don't want to be Rusev. I don't care. Like, Rusev's a true heel. And you notice Rusev is coming out with the Bulgaria flag and now. And
yes, he's back from being from Bulgaria.
Yeah.
Trying to win Lana's heart back in the middle of the ring, as Corey Graves pointed out.
So what kind of person is Lana? Gets out of a relationship with Rusev and immediately says, I don't need anybody, but goes to Dolph Ziggler and is all over him.
I don't know, but talk about the heat that Rusev was getting for just totally being chauvinistic.
Oh yeah, that's what you
he
do.
Basically wanted Lana to get back in the kitchen.
Yeah. Those Tennessee ways are rubbing off on Rusev.
Yeah, apparently so.
Not saying anything.
You can't. The only person who can get away with being chauvinistic is The Rock.
Yeah,
because he would tell Lana to go back in the kitchen and come back out with some pie.
But I love Rusev, love Rollins. Two of the top heels right now.
Yeah.
Who else is there?
We're missing. They haven't give enough of a push to my man Bray Wyatt, man.
Because he's stale. It's boring.
No, man, I'm not stale, man.
You're stale, Bray.
I'm just here floating among my fireflies, waiting for the moment, and then I'm gonna come down.
You lost to The Undertaker, Bray.
Son of a bitch, man.
Nobody cares about you anymore.
Wow.
You need some followers. Get the Wyatt family. Get your brother back with you after he gets done with Neville.
I just need to start believing in myself, man.
When we start dropping like hints like that? I gotta start believing.
I would love it.
Oh, it's great. All right, we'll end the show on that note. JBL, best line of the night. He's been dropping some gold lines. When Ambrose had the clipboard and the show was about to end.
Yeah.
And
he just made an X like he was illiterate.
Right, but Cole goes, he can still sign. The show hasn't ended. And JBL goes, quick, end the show.
Yeah.
Oh, it's too late. He can't sign the contract now. Why not? Do whatever he wants. Quick, end the show.
JBL sometimes doesn't make sense. He's a little bit over the top, but he has some dynamite drop-ins here and there, which makes the show so much
Another
better.
dynamite drop-in, Monty? Yeah. That broadcasting school is really paying off.
All right. Thanks to AIW for letting us come out this past weekend and do a lot of great interviews, hanging out with the likes of Samoa Joe, dangerous Doug Gilbert, who actually wore my pants to the ring for his Freddy Krueger gimmick. So there's another thing I can say is that a Tennessee legend wore my pants to the ring while he was dressed as Freddy Krueger. Oh, I'm sorry, Nightmare Freddy.
Yes.
Can't say Freddy Krueger.
He sent Dick Justice to Dream.
My God.
That was good. It was good.
And Dick Justice is going to be filming these videos all through the month, acting like he's in Freddy's Dreamland.
Yeah, while we're on the list of Googling folks, before we tell you to Google anybody else, go Google Dick Justice. Just so you can see who we're talking about.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
You don't get the gimmick?
Oh, Can we talk about the amateur match, the AIW school match?
Yeah, did you like it?
Were you there for that?
Yeah.
Frankie Flynn, if he listens, absolutely hate the guy. His character is annoying.
Which one's Frankie?
The guy that came out with the rose and the cape.
Oh, yeah, he came out to Phantom of the
Oh,
Opera.
it's terrible. Who are you, sir?
He's like on Broadway.
No,
he
it
bowed.
was awful.
He
Awful.
bowed.
Get him out of there. Get him out of the ring.
He's a different gimmick.
His stupid haircut, his stupid colored hair, with his stupid rose.
He's going to be so angry.
And he keeps on bowing and bowing. It's terrible.
Because he's on
Stop
Broadway.
it.
He's
I
on
don't
a
care.
stage.
I don't care if he's on Broadway.
How about the poor guy? And we talked about this during the Samoa Joe interview.
God.
First match ever. Pops out his shoulder.
He had to go to ER. There's video of him in the ambulance.
He gone.
He's going to be off the shelf for a while. But Kaplan, I think his name, he stole the show, the big guy.
He did. They loved Kaplan.
Yeah,
I feel like they knew a lot of those people that were there.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be there.
But
every
he's
week.
like he was trying to be basically like a big Kevin Owens type.
Yeah, he did some nice moves. He was by the most over.
He was pretty athletic there.
Yeah, did a flip over the
Pretty
top
nimble.
rope.
Yeah, went over the
cannonball.
top rope.
Yeah.
Cannonball.
Right onto Frankie Flynn's face. Thank God.
It's a big ass on your face right there.
But that's a big. I wouldn't want to mess with him. Him and I would make a good tag team. Him and I.
You and Frankie?
No, hell no. They'd be against Frankie and his whatever the guy that had his shoulder.
Would you guys be like
taken
the
out.
natural disasters?
Oh, can we give a shout out to Weird Body too? The guy, the poor kid. He's not big enough to probably be a wrestler, and he probably knows it, but he keeps on trying. And he went in the ring after Ricky Page.
Oh, the kid who had to mop up
Yeah,
everything, and then he got knocked out.
He's in the AIW wrestling school. He wants to be a wrestler.
Yeah.
And he was a bloody Ricky Page. He was bloody.
Oh, Ricky Page is very bloody.
And he comes back, and the ring was pissed. The blood was being mopped up. Weird Body's cleaning up, and we try to get out of the ring, but
He catches the forearm.
He sold it very well.
Did a great job
Did a
selling
great,
that.
Great job.
All the way to
But
the
poor Weird
backstage.
Poor Weird Body. So some love on the podcast for those guys. But Frankie Flynn, if there's one guy I can make just
I'll tell you, for their first
knockout.
match though, they did a good job. For their first ever match,
okay.
There were a couple botches in there.
The one kid that popped his shoulder out, there was a few botches.
Well, yeah, that happens. That's pop your shoulder out.
Yeah.
But overall, not a bad match.
Not for the first one, and not
For the-
bad at all. It's hard to go out there first time. You're nervous.
Yeah.
I'm sure the friends being there, all the friends. I think Carson and Kaplan are friends in real life, went
Right.
to school. So they had a bunch of the same people there. Big old cheering section, which was great.
And working with multiple guys, 5 or 6
Yeah.
guys in that match.
Yeah.
So, it's not like you're just working with one guy and you really get to work out and what you're going to do and really set that.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of different spots. Everybody's got to get their spot in. So, I mean, yeah, for their first match, kudos to them.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all.
Kudos to Johnny Gargano and everybody at the AIW wrestling school there training them.
The
Great
future
job.
is bright for some of those kids, not Frankie Flynn.
Oh,
He needs to
he's going to be
stop.
crushed if he hears this.
I don't care.
You keep doing it, Frankie, but I want to see a Phantom mask. If you're going to come out to the Phantom of the Opera, you're going to be Broadway. You better go full Broadway, buddy. That cape just wasn't enough. You need to work on that outfit. That's what I got for you, Frankie.
Well, he's just starting out, but Frankie Flynn. Just
you
stop.
need to go full go into that.
Quit bowing. You got to earn that right to bow. No one cares if you're in the ring, dude.
Triple H didn't earn that right to bow until
He's in
he did.
WWF. He's not
Well,
wrestling
fair enough.
in a school gymnasium. No, this
He's
to
a
any
big
of the guys
nose.
like Samoa Joe who wrestled in the school gymnasium.
Yeah,
but-
what are you talking about? He's a WWF.
But no Frankie Flynn.
Hey, shout out to Too Cold Scorpio doing it up once again. He was there.
Oh, 2 matches this weekend.
Yeah, and we got to see him.
And
He-
Nunzio too. Great job. Little Guido. Still in ring shape.
Scorpio's our boy, though.
Yeah,
Always love
Scorpio's-
saying hi to him.
Yeah, Scorpio's our dude. He looks in great shape. I think he looks better than he did the last time he was there in Cleveland a couple months ago.
Yeah, which, as we know, he hadn't wrestled in 6 months prior to that. So.
And he looks in great shape, and he did some awesome moves. And Too Cold Scorpio here. I don't think he's coming back for Absolution. I asked him if he's coming back. He didn't know about it, so he was going to ask John if he can come
We'll
back.
find out.
Yeah.
All right, it's time to get out of here.
Yeah, I think it is time
Yeah.
to get out of here. All right.
Let's go enjoy the leftovers from our Weber Grill.
Oh, that's absolutely.
Yeah, that's just
Can't
what I'm
wait.
thinking. Memorial Day weekend, cooked out on the grill.
Oh, definitely. You
Yeah,
have to.
got to
And-
go enjoy the leftovers. Or you could enjoy the flavors of charcoal grilling all year long at Weber Grill restaurants. Stop in one of their 4 Midwest locations, of course, in Chicago and Indianapolis, and visit WeberGrillRestaurant.com for addresses and directions there, and sign up for the new Grill Club, where you can earn great loyalty rewards.
All right, we'll talk to you guys next week right here on This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. Go back, listen to our interview with Samoa Joe from the weekend, our special edition show. Getting a lot of big downloads and got a lot of love all over the internets. And look forward to other interviews we have planned. Taylor Hendricks, Crazy Mary Dobson, Doug Gilbert, Nick Gage, and Little Guido. So look for those leading into Absolution. And then we'll have some coverage of Absolution as well and some interviews from that show, which is the WrestleMania show for AIW here in Cleveland. Go to AIWrestling.com. Make sure to check them out as well. So, Steve, we'll talk to you next week. And thanks for listening. And thanks to Cedric Alexander for coming on the show from Ring of Honor. And thanks to John Thorne from AIW for letting us do these interviews, because these guys are getting ready for their matches, and they come over and sit with us for half an hour. It's great. And we couldn't do it without John, so we really appreciate it. So on that note, we'll talk to you guys next week right here on CLEsound.com.
Hashtag get John Thorne famous.